Lee Summit is your destination for big city vibes and small town charm. Head to Lee Summit is your destination for big city vibes and small town charm.
Head to the downtown Lee Summit Farmers Market, where local meets fresh. Then grab a cup of coffee and discover a variety of shops and boutiques just around the corner. Continue the fun in downtown Lee Summit at a retro arcade bar. Discover your new beer at one of our 6 locally owned breweries. Cool off with some handcrafted cocktails at happy hour. End the night with live music and good company. Lee Summit, Missouri.
Hello, Lee Summit. I'm Laura Ingeman, and this is your flash briefing for the week of October 7th. The city has partnered with the Community Blood Center for a blood drive today, October 7th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the city's main facility. All participating donors will be put into a drawing for 2 Kansas City Chiefs tickets and a parking pass. The time to donate is now. Find a link to register on the city's website. Walk-ins are welcome. City Council will meet for regular session Tuesday night at 6 in council chambers in City Hall. Meetings are open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. The public is invited to a special ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the completion of the fire department's live burn training facility on October 10th at 2 p.m. at Fire Station number 7. This is made possible through the 2022 Public Safety Sales Tax. Attendees will hear remarks from Fire Chief Snyder, followed by a guided tour. The facility will allow firefighters to participate in controlled conditions, reducing injuries and deaths, and provide hands-on training for various exercises. We hope to see you there. The city is seeking a highly qualified director of human resources to oversee all aspects of our human resources operations. The ideal candidate will have a proven track record in leadership, a deep understanding of employment laws, and a passion for fostering a positive work environment. If this sounds like you, we encourage you to apply at lspeople.net. And Recycle Fest is back on October 26th from 9 a.m. to noon at the city's main facility. Items accepted include license plates, cell phones, rechargeable batteries, wine corks, and even bicycles. Paper shredding will be available up to 4 grocery sacks. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
I'm Assistant Chief Jim Eden.
And I'm Battalion Chief Ben Hicks.
And today we're at Lee Summit Fire Station 3. Fire Station 3 was part of the 2016 no tax increase general obligation bond for public safety initiatives. The station was built and occupied in August of 2020. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we've not been able to give tours or have an actual ribbon cutting. So we want to invite you in today to give you the opportunity to see what goes on within a Lee Summit Fire Department station.
Let's go take a tour. This is our admin side of the facility. We use this side mainly for offices. We have a lot of work during the day, whether it's training or doing reports or just generally taking care of the shift that we need to do. At this particular station, Station 3, we do have an assistant chief that works out of here. That person has their own office where they need to manage what's going on throughout the day with the shift and staffing, and as well as running calls out of here. The captain has their own office as well. What the captain does is at this specific station is in charge of both the fire truck that's here as well as the ambulance. And so with all those personnel responsibilities as well as running calls and reports, that's where they work out of. And generally for the rest of the crew, which is somewhere around 5 to 6 individuals, we have rooms to write reports, and we have additional training rooms and other rooms where people can work. Walking into our living area, I think it's important to recognize that we work 48-hour shifts. So in the evenings, after 5 o'clock, after work is done, we may have the opportunity to catch a game or something else as long as we're not running calls. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. When we go into our kitchen, I think this gives you a great reason to know why we go to the grocery store. When you see fire trucks at the grocery store, what we're doing. Well, so for 2 days working for 48 hours, we buy all our meals at the grocery store, and then we come in here and cook, just like you guys do at home. So everybody has their own fridge on each shift as well as their own pantry, and then we cook those meals here. Going into the sleeping side of things, we've got a couple different things that are significant. We have our own laundry room, which again is important when we're here for 48 hours. The opportunity to wash and clean our clothes and bedding is very important for hygiene. And walking into where our beds are, we keep the kind of sleeping quarters over on one side of the building. It gives us both easy access out to where our fire apparatus are, as well as kind of keeping it a little bit quieter. And the reason we built it with so many bedrooms is we want to give ourselves as a city the opportunity to expand. So if we need to put another apparatus here or numerous other people working at this station, that's already in place as far as infrastructure goes, and we don't need to go back and try to make it bigger or better. And that's really important for us, especially because the old station was so small. Back out on the apparatus floor, we have doors facilitated as many places as possible, so that way when we're sleeping at night and a call comes out, we can make our way out fairly quickly to get out onto the truck if we need to and run a call. On the other side of the station, we kind of have other stuff that we may want to keep separated if we want to. Physical fitness is very important to us as firefighters. So in order to better ourselves and make sure we're as healthy as we can to do this job, we have our own gym facility here that we kind of go throughout the day when we can and get an opportunity to come in and work out. Our goal when we run calls, when we get back to the station after calls, our goal is to get ready to go back as soon as we can to run another call. So we have the opportunity or capability here to fill up our air tanks. You see firefighters wear the big air tanks on their backs and they use those in a fire. We can come back and fill those up and make sure that we're ready to go again when we're wanting to go run another call. We have our own workshop here. We work on a lot of our tools and making sure that everything's clean and operational, and this gives us the capability to do that, again, to make sure that we have everything we need and we're as capable as we can be running calls throughout the city. Cancer prevention is very important in the fire service right now. Because of that, we have an extractor machine, and what this does is gives us the capability when we come back from a fire, we can put our bunker gear into this machine and get all that really nasty crud off of our gear. Again, kind of getting back to that cancer prevention mode, allowing us to be as clean as we possibly can for the next call. And finally is our bunker gear room. We each have our own individual locker. This gives us the opportunity to store our gear when we're not here working in between shifts, as well as keep a clean extra set on here in case we do run a fire and we need to clean our current gear. Typically, this is where your day starts off at the fire station. You come in and get your gear and put it on wherever you're working that day, and then you end the same way, bring your stuff back to your locker to go home after working. This is Med 3. This ambulance just currently moved into the station from Station 7. Station 3, since we've had it built, has turned into one of our busiest stations in the city. Therefore, we wanted to provide the best care in the closest unit as we could. So we moved one of our ambulances up, and this became Med 3 for this particular instance. Out of this station, we also have Pumper 3. And that's a fire apparatus that they utilize to run the calls on this west end of the city. The last vehicle that you see is the chief's vehicle. We have 2 shift chiefs on shift every day, and they split the city. And this chief running out of this station typically covers the west and south area of the city, while our chief of Station 2 covers kind of that northeast section of our city, and they divide it up evenly.
Thank you for going on a tour with us today. If you have any other questions about the Lee Summit Fire Department, please go to our webpage at lsfire.net or follow us on Facebook at Lee Summit Fire Department.
Thanks for joining us on the tour.
Have you ever been driving around Lee Summit and wondered what's that going to be? What's being built there? Wow, that went up fast. The Development Minute is here to help, highlighting some of the newest projects in Lee Summit, Missouri. Streets of West Pryor is getting another restaurant on the north end. Chicken Salad Chick, a southern-inspired fast casual chicken salad restaurant, will open next to 30 Hot Bar and Grill, Magic Noodle, and Nick the Greek. The restaurant will offer a variety of scratch-made chicken salads, pimento cheese, sandwiches, and more. It is set to open at the end of 2024. Summit Orchards is welcoming Salad & Go, a drive-through restaurant that specializes in salads, wraps, and breakfast. The Arizona-based restaurant sources fresh, natural ingredients for its salads, house-made dressings, and proteins. Salad & Go is set to open in spring of 2025. Summit Orchards is getting Andy's Frozen Custard. The quick-serve frozen custard-only chain offers a wide variety of custard treats like concretes, jackhammers, sundaes, splits, malts, and more. Andy's is set to open in spring of 2025. Craft Putt is coming soon to Summit Fair. The locally owned indoor mini golf bar and restaurant will feature 2 custom-designed 10-hole mini golf courses. The space will offer games, food options like tacos, burgers, and wings, and local craft brews. Craft Putt will open by the end of 2024. That's it for the Development Minute. For more about upcoming projects, visit cityofls.net.
I really love living in our historic downtown. I walk my dog around. The shops take her for, they do pub cups at Poppy's, so you can get ice cream with a little dog biscuit in it, which is her favorite thing in the world. My neighbors, we have block parties together. I really like how welcoming and how vibrant it is. It's an amazing place to live. Lee Summit's a really great community. I love living here, and I just wanted to try to find a way to give back, look out for my neighbors, for the community. I've always tried to be involved. Before serving on city council, I used to volunteer with AFS, which is an organization that hosts foreign exchange students. So my husband and I have hosted kids from around the world and then also volunteered with local families and schools. In my professional life, I'm a paralegal, and then in my personal life, I enjoy reading, sewing. I'm a quilter, so I just finished a log cabin quilt that I'm going to send to my aunt out in DC. I can't claim any of our council accomplishments for myself. This is always a team effort. But I am really excited about the farmers market and event space that we have coming in. It's still in the design phases, but I think it's going to be a really beautiful space, and it's going to really continue keeping our downtown thriving. It's been in progress for a long time, but I think that people are going to really love it when it's done. I think one of my top priorities is going to be attainable housing. That, for example, I've been trying to find a place for my mom in Lee Summit. And it's really challenging finding something that really works for a retiree who doesn't have a huge budget. Just trying to make it more attainable for people no matter where they're at in their lives to be a part of our community. Community is what we make it. Everybody should get involved in whatever way they can, whether that's just voting or whether it's joining a board or a commission or even running for office. What they say, the world is run by those who show up. So get involved however you can and make a difference in the community.
Welcome, everyone. Would you please rise for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless this council that has been called to lead the community in which we all live, work, and play. Help us to listen to our constituents and always be ready to pay attention and learn from those we represent. Remind us so we do not forget that we are only leaders of our community, but also servants to the people to work for the common good of all. Grant us the wisdom and courage to know and to do what is proper, and guide us by the spirit of the community and by what is good, right, and true. Bless all those in attendance tonight and keep us all safe. A special blessing is requested for all that are experiencing violence and upheaval in the world. Amen.
Again, welcome everyone. I'm calling to order the City of Lee Summit regular session number 17. Could I get a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Hodges?
Here.
Councilmember DeMauro?
Here.
Councilmember Pryor?
Here.
Councilmember Shields?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez?
Here.
Councilmember Rader?
Here.
Councilmember Lovell? Absent. Councilmember Carlisle?
Present.
Mayor Baird?
Here. Before we get started with the agenda, I'd like to do some agenda management. I know that there are a couple people here that are wanting to speak about the airport renaming, and you're more than welcome to still do that in the public comments. But I am going to remove item 7A, the resolution to rename the Lee Summit Municipal Airport. For the record, we have, as a city, a timeline of communication and correspondence with the Kansas City Aviation Department dating back to April 4th of this year, with multiple points and opportunities for dialogue. However, I received a request yesterday afternoon, an email with letter from Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas requesting to meet to discuss our name change and to delay any action as council until we meet. He did follow up late today with a voicemail. He did apologize for not engaging sooner on the issue. I am willing to meet and have more discussions before making the decision for the name change, and hope he offers more than an assumption that the association with the City of Lee Summit would harm the Kansas City brand. I also, I'm willing to listen to whatever other concerns and considerations, and he did say he would meet right away. I do want to state, though, I'm not making the case for any name change, any certain name change, but we have been asked as a city to embrace the Kansas City brand over the years in economic development and tourism. I think we deserve the same consideration with embracing Lee Summit as a role model suburb of the Kansas City Metro and as a strong economic activity hub that only adds value to the greater Kansas City region brand. Again, I'm still willing to have discussions. If there are other considerations about the name change that should be discussed that his aviation department has not yet conveyed, then I would like to hear him out and report back to council for your consideration before moving forward. I think it'd be appropriate to accommodate his request to meet before making our decision, so I'm removing this item tonight. I do plan to put it on the agenda next week, though, so he'll need to meet with me right away. Because we want to move forward with a decision. So with that, I would like to ask for someone to motion for the agenda as amended. Okay, thank you. Councilmember DeMauro has motioned to approve the agenda as amended, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does pass 8-0. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda by Councilmember Carlisle, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It passes unanimously. Thank you all. And then we have council roundtable. These are items of general interest, things going on in a council member's district, or, I don't know, maybe some good news. I know we got the Chiefs and the Royals, but it doesn't really get more exciting than that on one night. Councilmember Shields?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think we've met since Oktoberfest, and I just wanted to say that the Chamber did a great job with that event. I went down there, and turns out that I'm too old to ride the teacups anymore, but I did take Felix on those to the best of my ability, and had just a great event. A lot of folks down there, beautiful weather, and I appreciate them putting that on for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We do have a couple of proclamations, and could I have anybody that would like to come forward with Feedly Summit? Meet me in the front of the dais right here. Over here. Thank you all for coming. We have a proclamation for Feed Lee Summit Month. Whereas hunger is a universal social problem, increasing in cities across the country and throughout the world. Whereas children, senior citizens, veterans, the disabled, the unemployed, the poor, and the homeless are all affected by hunger. And whereas finding solutions to end hunger is an ongoing challenge and providing food for individuals and families is a top priority for local nonprofit organizations in the city of Lee Summit. And whereas our community is comprised of compassionate, philanthropic people who desire to help their neighbors and fellow citizens by supporting and contributing to local nonprofit organizations. Whereas to help alleviate hunger in our community, on November 12th, 2024, the 3 Rotary Clubs of Lee Summit are sponsoring the Feed Lee Summit fundraising event and will donate proceeds to Cold Water, Lee Summit Social Services, Meals on Wheels, Boost for Success, and One Good Meal, benefiting over 4,700 residents. By virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Lee Summit, I do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Feed Lee Summit Month. All right. This is quite the event. It's really gotten big. It's very fun with regard to the atmosphere. You're doing good for people in need. And people don't think that we have a need, but we do in Lee Summit. And it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what you keep telling me at this event every year. You're just like, the need is growing. We cannot believe this. We need, so they keep growing this event. So thank you for all working together so hard. And you're doing a magnificent job. So maybe if you'd say a few words, say who you are, who you're with, and anything else you want to add.
I'm David Fritz. I'm co-chair this year, and I'm a member of Sunrise Rotary, and I convinced my lovely wife to be my other co-chair. And today is our 41st anniversary, by the way.
And I'm his wife, Julie.
I'm Jody Springer, and I'm with the Lee Summit Rotary Club, and I am one of the members of the committee, and I work on our website, and yeah.
I'm Monica Humbard. I'm Executive Director of Coldwater of Lee Summit, and I can tell you that just from May to 23 to May to 24, we saw a 74% increase in visits to our food pantry this last year.
I'm Susie Newsom. I'm with Meals on Wheels of Lee Summit. And this event is so important to us. It helps us focus on helping more of our clients take on more clients that can't afford to pay for their meals. So thank you so much.
My name is Roberta MacArthur. I'm the director of One Good Meal, and this has been my privilege to be the longest recipient of Feed Lee Summit. That means I'm old, guys. And there just aren't enough words to say thank you to the city and to the Rotary for what they do for the city and to help us help people.
I'm Megan Salerno. I'm the executive director at Lee Summit Social Services, and not only is Feed Lee Summit just a super fun social gathering, but it lets us be more visible within the city for anyone who comes, and we get the word out about our needs here in Lee Summit. And people are super responsive, and we wouldn't be able to help as many people as we do without it.
I'm Tony Schwartz, the Director of Development at Lee Summit Social Services, and I'm just going to say this, what she said is correct, and what all of them said is correct. I did not believe that there was a need here in Lee Summit, and 4 years ago, Lee Summit Social Services and these wonderful women standing up here showed me that there was. So please believe them.
Well, I know that this event is pretty big, and it's grown. It's had lots of changes and gotten better. But I don't think any one organization can do it as big and as bold as it is. So the fact that you all come together for the greater good and work together collaboratively is just a tribute to all of you. So thank you all very much. So do you mind taking a picture with me? Oh, he wants you in front.
Come on in front. Come on in front. Yeah. Come on.
Come here, Susie. There we go.
Come on, yeah.
Here, I'll stand in front of you. Thank you all. Okay, do we have someone here with dysautonomia? Oh, excellent. Come on up. Is that right? Did I say it right? I had some help. I practiced with my council members. Yep. This is Dysautonomia Awareness Month. Whereas dysautonomia is a group of medical conditions that result in a malfunction of the autonomic nervous system, thank you, which is responsible for automatic bodily functions such as respiration, heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, temperature control, and more. Whereas dysautonomia impacts over 70 million people around the world and includes conditions such as diabetic autonomic neuropathy, vasovagal. Oh, I know what vasovagal is. Vasovagal syncope, pure autonomic failure, and postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Thank you. You're doing great, really. I should have practiced more, though. Whereas dysautonomia impacts people of any gender, age, gender, race, or background, including many individuals living in the city of Lee Summit, whereas dysautonomia can be very disabling and can result in social isolation, stress on families impacted, and financial hardship, and some forms can result in death. Whereas increased awareness about dysautonomia will help patients get diagnosed and treated earlier, save lives, and foster support for individuals and families coping with social isolation, stress, and financial hardship caused by dysautonomia. Dysautonomia International, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, advocates on behalf of patients living with dysautonomia and encourages communities to celebrate Dysautonomia Awareness Month each October around the world. By virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Lee Summit, I do hereby proclaim October 2024. Sorry, we missed a few days, but we'll celebrate the rest of the month. Dysautonomia Awareness Month. All right. And who do we have here?
These are my kids. They told me in the beginning that what I had is not hereditary, and later we just found out it's 40% hereditary. So my son was diagnosed when he was 14, and this is Gavin, and then this is Taylor, and she was diagnosed when she was 11. Did you guys want to say something?
Is this close enough? Okay. I just want to say thank you so much, because it's very important to me that other kids who weren't as lucky as me to have a family member who knew about POTS. It's very important that kids who are suffering with this same thing that I have, to me, that can be able to get diagnosed later on, because without the diagnosis, I feel like my life would be a lot harder in school and in social relationships. And I don't want kids to have that hard time in school and those social relationships.
Thank you for declaring this month as awareness, as I know that my mother went through the trials and tribulations of getting getting misdiagnosed one after the other until finally landing upon the correct diagnosis.
Not hypochondria.
Yep, that happened as well, and I am just so thankful that everybody here is willing to push forward for the awareness that is needed for further diagnosis.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for getting the proclamation to me. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to have to conduct some business. So we're going to start with public hearing. This is agenda item 5A, the public hearing for rezoning from R1 to PMIX, preliminary development plan, Discovery Crossing, lots 1 through 9, 1810 Northeast Douglas Street and 101 Northwest Colbern. Intrinsic Development is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak please rise and be sworn in by the city clerk?
All right, good evening. Jeff Bartz with OWN, representing Intrinsic with Discovery Park. Our office is out of 844 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas. Tonight, I just wanted to talk to you quickly on the next phase of what is Discovery Park. As you can see here, this kind of shows the entire development out there. This phase is kind of the southeast corner in that darker bluish greenish color labeled Discovery Crossing. This phase includes 9 lots and 2 tracks. It's the first phase of this southern area south of Colbern Road. This particular grouping of lots is due to the ability to be served with sanitary from the north, which was part of the first phase. Everything to the west of here will be served by a future off-site sewer connection. So this is kind of the next step, is utilizing what we can. Currently showing approximately 80,000 square feet of general commercial space, whether that's office, retail, restaurant, kind of open tenants on most of it. There is no residential in this phase, contrary to what was north of Colbern Road, which had many apartment complexes. This does not. This is strictly commercial just for this corner. Just west of this development will be additional residential as we get kind of more into that true mixed use again. But this phase, it is not. All the materials for this, while nothing has been final designed yet, all the materials will adhere to the same design guidelines that were set forth on the north piece, the first phase north of Colbern Road, to kind of have that uniformity throughout the entire development. And the current schedule is starting this fall and going through kind of the next 2 years for build-out. A little more on the phasing. As I mentioned, north of Colbern is currently under construction. That first phase, the village. This is the second phase, Discovery Crossing. And then west we have what we're calling the promenade. Again, starting probably next year at some point through the following years for the full build-out. Quick note on the traffic improvements for this phase. We are proposing to add this signal at Trails Edge Boulevard. This would tie into Trails Edge on the north side. And then halfway between Trails Edge and Douglas is the Discovery Ave, which is proposed to remain a right-in, right-out only, so there'd be no way for a vehicle to go directly across. And then in the future, to serve kind of more of that development out west, we are proposing another light further down Colbern Road to the west. Again, I want to stress the images you see here are not final. These are just some kind of renderings showing what could go in based on the material palette that is in the design guidelines. Any actual design would come in through the final development process when an actual tenant is selected or desires the lot. So since we don't know that, we put together some renderings just to kind of give you a good feel of what we're looking at for each lot. And so for lot 1, we're looking at kind of more of a family restaurant. Lot 2 is more of the fast food restaurant. Again, lot 3, similar fast food or even coffee shop type drive-through. Lots 4 and 5 is more of your kind of retail strip mall, potentially with a drive-through on one end, kind of a dual-use retail restaurant buildings. Same thing for lot 6. Lot 7, we plan for more of a grocery, market grocery in this building, as well as some retail. And then lot 8, more of the same retail restaurant, as well as lot 9. So try to keep it short and sweet for you. This time I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, we'll do the staff's presentation, and we'll come right back to you.
All right, good evening. Shannon McGuire, Planning Manager. Please enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 23.
Okay, please enter into the record Exhibit A, 1 through 23.
All right, as the applicant stated, they are here proposing a rezoning from R1 and to PMIX and approval of preliminary development plan to build nearly 85,000 square feet of retail commercial development. The particular subject site is located on little over or almost 18 acres, and it's located at the southwest corner of Northeast Douglas and Northeast Colbern Road there. The applicant is requesting a modification to the parking lot setbacks, and I'll get more into that later on in my presentation. So again, the current application is only for the area here shown in Zone 2, or kind of circled in the yellow. Kind of in this area right here. And this is referred to as the Discovery Park, or as Zone 2 in the Discovery Park master plan. So, however, the applicant does intend to ultimately develop the remaining 115 acres to the west by separate application in future development. So the adjacent property to the north, depicted in the red, Zone 1, as the applicant stated, does have an approved preliminary development plan for the initial Discovery Park phase, and is currently in the beginning phases of that construction. Again, the subject site is nearly 18 acres and is the former site of a farm with a single-family residence. That residence, the residential structure, has been relocated outside of the city limits. Adjacent to the property to the north is currently being developed in the first phase of the initial phases. There include a mixed use of residential and commercial, and is known as that Village Discovery Park. The park to the west, or the property to the west, is vacant, undeveloped, and is again future area for future phases of this particular development. And the property to the east across Douglas is undeveloped city-owned property and is the runway protection zone, so it'll never be developed. The applicant is proposing a total of 9 buildings. They're all a single story. The total floor area ratio for the overall phase is that 0.13. Again, it's a slightly over 8,400 or 84,000 square feet. They are proposing 739 parking spaces with a total impervious coverage of 68%. The applicant did hold a neighborhood meeting in July. One member of the public did attend that meeting. Staff has not received any comments since the application has been filed. So as the applicant stated, there are no specific buildings being designed out here, but they did submit an architectural design guideline booklet. And in that booklet details all the materials and architectural characteristics of the buildings that will come before through approval. And those materials consist mostly of brick, some cement fiber board, aluminum accenting, and some storefront glazing. So you can see some of the general elevations here. And again, from an access standpoint, there will be two accesses here. Drive number 5 there will be a fully signalized intersection, full westbound left turn lane with eastbound right turn lane. The access drive number 4 will be that right in, right out only as they spoke about. The modification they are requesting are to the parking lot setbacks along the southeastern property line. They are proposing to reduce those parking lot setbacks along that westbound I-470 on-ramp. There's an abundance of highway right-of-way right there. It does provide an ample separation between the parking lot and the on-ramp, anywhere from 60 to 100 feet between the parking lot edge and that on-ramp. So quite a bit of green space will be maintained. So for this reason, staff does support that modification request. The Ignite Comprehensive Plan does identify this area as mixed use. According to that plan and that land designation, it is intended to accommodate low-rise buildings with a mix of retail, office, service, and public uses, along with a mix of residential development. So the proposed development's characteristics of the one-story buildings and mix of that retail is really kind of complementing to the overall mixed use of the development as a whole. For these reasons, staff does find that the proposed phase and overall development does meet the goals as established by the comprehensive plan. And with the conditions of approval as outlined here in the staff letter, staff does find that the proposed application does meet the requirements of the UDO and the design and construction manual, and I can answer any questions you may have at this time.
All right. Very good. Questions for staff or the applicant? Yes, Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me see. I think the first question would be for the applicant. So, as we were looking at the zones, and you're starting now with Zone 1, right? That's where your first phase is going to be, and that is your residential phase.
It's still mixed use. There's residential, hotels, retail.
Okay, so the hotels are going into Zone 1.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. And what's your, what time frames are you looking at? Do you know for completion of Zone 1?
Early 26.
Okay. And then how about Zone 2? If Zone 1's on time?
Probably late 26, early 27.
Okay, so you're going to be starting that again as well. How many residential units are, again, because this has been going on for a long time, so how many residential units, can you tell me again, are in Zone 1?
In the village, 485, roughly.
And then there'll be more as you build more zones.
Yep, further to the west, yep.
Okay, now I watched you on the Planning Commission the other day, and they asked you about some of the businesses that you thought were going to go into Zone 2. And I heard you say that you didn't really know because you were waiting for final approval on your
A a lot of times the leased ground, you can't really nail down people that, companies that want to lease that ground until the plan has been approved by the city. Once approval has happened, then you kind of get more of the leasees, if you
Sure.
will, sign the contracts to actually lease the land.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for the applicant. And Shannon, I just had one question for you. I was listening to you give your presentation. Did you say that, I think you said that in Zone 2, they will have to come back through planning on the materials that they're going to be using, or is that already? No.
With the submittal of the design guideline, there's enough information there to
Okay.
really narrow it down, so it'll, all approvals will come through FDP.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. Do you guys go after businesses that you want, or do you guys just kind of wait for them to come to you guys?
Hi, Mike Van Buskirk with Newmark Zimmer. A little of both. I will tell you on this project, we've had a lot of groups reach out to us. I've spent a lot of time over the last year around the whole metropolitan area talking about this project, and that's got a lot of activity. Also, our target list is pretty big. I can tell you we're not in a position to make any announcements here on this phase specifically, but there are letter of intents being negotiated for different portions of this specific phase, and a lot of interest.
Okay, thank you. The reason I'm asking is because I just really want to see businesses that we don't already have. We have so many repeats in Lee Summit, and I want to see new businesses that we don't already have a repeat of. So.
As a resident of Lee Summit, I agree completely.
I figured you would.
And I will tell you, on the retail front, the activity is amazing, which tells you the strength of our retail, in Lee Summit. But their target list is new to market for Kansas City metropolitan area, new to market for Lee Summit is where we're trying to focus on. Because really, we want this to be a regional draw as well. So if any of those things would be new to market to the metropolitan area, which we are getting really good traction in this phase as well as in the village.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Carlisle.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have a few questions, and I guess this is probably for Shannon to start with, maybe. So in the staff report, it says that you guys are good with the zoning request to PMIX, even though the recommendation number 3 says that they must stick to CP2 zoning standards and allowable uses.
Correct. So that is, the PMIX is just a kind of a broad category, so that we're just narrowing it down to what categories that we want to see land use wise and development standard wise in that zone. So it's kind of a zone that you can really massage and make work for whatever particular project is. So that's the standards that we've applied to this particular phase.
Right. So if we go ahead and zone this to PMIX instead of CP2, because you say in there that it has to stick to CP2 zoning standards and allowable uses, that makes sure that that's going to happen?
Correct.
And even if, and I'm not saying anything negative about this project or anything else, let's say it stalls out and this phase doesn't happen like it wants to for however many years, which we've seen before, then can they come in and change that without coming back to us because it now says PMIX instead of?
No, so the PMIX doesn't have pre-established standards, so we're applying the standards of the CP2, and any deviation from that would require a new PDP before this board.
Okay, great, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that was covered for everybody. Okay, and then in this area, is there, because it's so close to the airport area, is there a height limit for the buildings?
Yes, there is a height limit. We've been in touch, and we'll have to fill out the FAA forms, basically verifying that and be in compliance with the airport.
What limits are those?
It varies depending on the cone from the runway. Where we're at we're a little west of the actual runway glide path. I don't know how much, but all these buildings, I believe every one of them is single story, right? Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. I was just making, I didn't know if you were being forced to be single-story because of that, or that was a choice.
Mostly choice, but
Okay.
we can't go too much higher because of the airport height regulations.
Okay. Did you guys, so the first phase of this came through before I was here. So is there a master plan for the whole area?
Yes.
That you guys submitted early on that was approved and then we came through in phases, or?
Yeah, there was a concept put together for the TIF plan, but the future phases would need to come through with a preliminary development plan.
But that
to be
master plan
finalized.
that's with the TIF plan is the map of what you're gonna do? And
Roughly.
that, can that change? Only if we change the TIF plan though, right?
Good evening, Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. So yeah, when the project originally came forward, there was a concept plan associated with it and 4 phases specifically, zones 1, 2, 3, and 4 that have been mentioned. Zones 1, that is phase 1. Zone 2, the lines don't exactly match up exactly, but that's the point of the concept, so it can change slightly. Zone 3 was a little bit more developed and should be coming along here soon. That was the Riverwalk area. Zone 4 was the most highly, I'll say, flexible, and that was the one that was the least certain at that time. But long-winded answer to say that concept can change, but it all has to be in alignment with the criteria associated with the TIF plan. Otherwise, the TIF would need to be amended as well. Is that possible if they were to choose to do that? Yes, there's process associated with that, though.
And they would have to come back before us for that approval?
That's correct.
Thank you. So in that master plan, and I have still not been able to find that first phase of what that looks like, but when we were looking at it here, it looks like a more walkable area.
So yes, the intent of the overall development is to be a very walkable, mixed-use development that is a destination for people. However, this corner is kind of more of the standard commercial area. I'd say this is a little outdated of a concept, but immediately west of this area is where kind of a loop road that will be adjacent to the Riverwalk. And that'll be, again, more of the mixed-use, retail first floor, apartment second floor, immediately adjacent to this.
Okay. So, and that's what I was hopeful for, because Zone 1 looked more walkable, and Zone 3 looked like you were trying to get there. So is there going to be a way, I mean, this is just, Zone 2 is just parking lots, right? Those aren't walkable. People will run you right over. So is there a way to somehow transition that so that people in Zone 1 don't have to get in their car and go to Zone 3?
So we do have sidewalk on both sides coming down to the roundabout. They'll be continue on to the west, both sides. Our intent is to have some sort of a little bit larger than normal pedestrian crossing across Colbern to make it easier for residents on the north side to get down. Again, this corner is kind of serving as more of the service area.
Right,
for
and I
residents.
understand that. I was just, like, maybe in that inner, corner, if you could do something, so, and not just people who want to walk, but people who maybe have disabilities of some sort that might be wheelchair bound or anything else like that. I mean, it just really hinders them from getting around in that area. So I would just hope that we would really keep that in mind when we're building developments like this. Not only, and this is just speaking for me, but parking lots are killing me, but, you know, that it just doesn't make that really family-friendly. It doesn't make it user-friendly for some people. So I would just hope we'd keep that in mind. And I don't know that there's anything you can do to fix that there, but that's just my thought. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, and then with all of the pavement here, the stormwater and sewer and all of that, we're good with. Staff is somewhere, right? I'm sure that when that master plan came through, it gave the whole area of what we're gonna have to do for all of it,
Yep.
right? And
It's been reviewed and meets the requirements.
okay, thank you very much. All right, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Other questions for staff or the applicant? I guess I'll just piggyback off what Councilmember Carlisle was asking about. Isn't that on that north side of Colbern on the corner at Douglas? There's quite a drop off there, but you gotta, is there gonna be a building there? I mean, like to get across, like you're gonna have to build that up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a drop from the intersection down. We've tried to mitigate much of that with the kind of the mass grading that has happened.
Really?
I'd say it's probably only a couple feet now, right?
Really?
Yeah, and yeah, with the grading of this phase, this side will actually level out and come up from the roadway. I say it's down today just because of the grading
Sure.
operations that are
Well, I remember
ongoing.
what it was like before.
Yep. Yeah, this area will generally raise up from Colbern Road to the south.
It had quite a drop off before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I think what Councilmember Carlisle was talking about is if you look at that picture, yeah, that one's fine. If you go straight north of Zone 2, and then you've got that roundabout, and then it goes forward to the lake. I mean, that whole area, just the renderings you had before were big sidewalks and super walkable, and that's still the plan over there.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got those. We can get those out to the council members if they want to see those. Then, so that rendering that's in front of you there is a little different than the one that you're proposing tonight, though, right? That one's a little outdated.
Correct, this one is
Because
outdated.
you've broken that up, and it's not just one big box user. You've got this in 9 different lots at this point.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah,
much more
that's
current.
much better. Yep. So where the number 1 is, you can go north there, and it is really walkable from that point. But to get to that point, you'd have to go over to Colbern, over to Douglas, I mean. I don't think, yeah, there's a stoplight where the number 5 is.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
there'll be a stoplight there. So you'd have to go to either corner, but if you've leveled it off, that's a game changer.
Again, if you go straight down from number 5, you've got the roundabout, and then you have kind of the future loop road to the west that then would connect into the Riverwalk area, where that's expected to be a very pedestrian-heavy, friendly area.
And did you say that one of these, yeah, you did. Which one is it? Which one are you thinking might be grocery? Here it is, lot 7.
That's the T looking,
Okay.
that one.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to keep going down this list, everyone. Is there anyone that is here that wishes to speak in favor or against the application? Please come forward. Okay. Any additional questions from the council? All right. Hearing no further testimony. Oh, I'm sorry. Does the applicant care to make any further comment? Mr. Bartz? Anybody? Okay. Thank you. Hearing no further testimony, we'll close the public hearing and reopen the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is a long time coming, and I drive up and down Lee Summit Road every day, 3 times a day. I just want to say to Mr. Buskirk that there are people here on the dais that would like to see a Trader Joe's. You know that, right? Yeah. And the other thing is just to kind of copycat with Councilmember Pryor, that I would like to see local, as much local as we can get, local restaurants and places like that, and not so much fast food. I understand how leasing works, and you've got to fill tenant spaces, I get it, but would love that to hopefully be a little discretionary if we can, to try to get more local businesses, and I think it would play well with that, especially with the airport nearby and everything. So I think it's a great project, and still really excited about what's going on with it, and want it to be a great success. So thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't have a lot of questions on this one tonight, obviously. I think it looks like a great project. We've talked about this a lot before at prior council meetings when we were going through the TIF process. Just excited to see it moving forward. I do appreciate my colleagues' questions. I feel like I understand a little bit more of what this is going to look like after the drilled down into it a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not seeing further comment. I'll just say this corner has been a long time coming. People have talked about it for a long time in our community. So it's amazing that you have pulled this off, because that was the anchor piece. And it's going to be highly visible, so we are excited. And then I have confidence, that the demand is there and you're going to do a great job. You might want to consider giving the council opportunity to hear what's coming, like maybe right before the announcement, that type of thing, because we love that kind of stuff. When we hear it, because sometimes we'll hear it, oh, we've got a commitment on the lease, we can disclose this one. And with you guys, you're keeping things close to the vest right now, totally fine. But if there's a way you can whisper it to us at an EDC meeting or a chamber meeting, Michael, once you have it all signed, then. Right, yeah, we just because we don't like hearing it from social media, and then we don't know, and then we are calling staff, asking, and they're trying to figure out whether or not they can disclose something. So yeah, just keep the lines of communication open, and it really helps us to help justify our decisions, like on developments like yours, as well as the activity we can then say, because you all know, I hope you know, how much people ask us about Colbern Road. I mean, it is nonstop. And a lot of people still don't know what's going on Colbern Road, and we talk about it nonstop. So anytime we can start using things that they understand instead of just, retail or commercial or hotels, I always tell them hotels. But anything you can send our way would be appreciated, because we all are excited about this corner. So. All right, with that, seeing no further questions or comments, Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 24-180?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading of Bill number 24-180, an ordinance approving rezoning from District R1 Single Family Residential District to District PMIX Planned Mixed Use District on approximately 19.09 acres and a preliminary development plan for Discovery Crossing lots 1 through 9 on approximately 17.91 acres of land located at 1810 Northeast Douglas Street and 101 Northwest Colbern Road, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33 of the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move second reading. Bill number 24-180 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does pass unanimously. Hey, you've been working hard on this. Thank you for investing in Lee Summit, and we're looking forward to seeing this commercial phase open up. Okay, we're gonna continue on, everyone. We got a vacation, a right-of-way to discuss. I'm gonna close the regular session, open the public hearing in the matter of vacation of right-of-way, downtown Market Plaza, 200 Southeast Johnson Street, City of Lee Summit is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise and be sworn in by the city clerk.
All right, good evening, council members. Mr. Mayor, Shannon McGuire, Planning Manager, please enter to the record Exhibit A, a list of exhibits 1 through 16.
Please enter into the record Exhibit A 1 through 16.
All right, so the purpose of this application is to vacate a 60-foot wide by nearly 520-foot long strip of right-of-way, formerly known as Green Street, between 2nd and 3rd Street there, as well as a 20-foot wide and 400-foot long unnamed alley between Southeast Green Street and Southeast Johnson Street. The subject site is currently under development, as you know, as the Green Street project, which was formerly known as the Downtown Market Plaza. Once complete, this particular project will be home to the Green Street Market, the lawn at Green Street, the Grove at Green Street, as well as additional pad sites for additional development in the future. As part of the project, Southeast Green Street, kind of shown here in the malachite color, and the full unnamed alley shown here in the ochre color, have been permanently removed. The existing right-of-ways are no longer needed, and therefore the city is requesting the vacation of those right-of-ways. So a neighborhood meeting was held on June 10th. As part of the overall project, 23 members of the public did attend that meeting. The subject's rights-of-way were dedicated in 1867 as part of the W.B. Howard's first additional plat. With the approval of the subsequent construction of the Green Street project, the rights-of-way are no longer needed, nor do they align with the future land use or development pattern of the area. Offices and retail uses are located to the north of the property, and they are zoned T and Z. AT&T, Red Racks Thrift Store are located in the CPT zone properties to the south. T&Z single-family homes are located east across Southeast Johnson Street. And then the CBD zoned Lee Summit Fire Station, restaurants and office uses are located to the west. So by advocating additional public services and increasing housing options in the downtown activity center, the comprehensive plan does seek to increase the ability for additional residents to live and work in downtown, as well as increase patronage to our local businesses, parks, and events. The subject application is just part of a larger project that does meet the overall goals with the city's continued investment into our community. So again, the proposed right-of-ways or the proposed vacation of right-of-ways do not compromise the ability to implement or achieve any policies, goals, or objectives as outlined in our comp plan. Again, the rights-of-ways no longer align with the future network, and this action is necessary to complete the Green Street project. So here is just kind of the documents of the limits of the rights-of-way that we are vacating. So with that, and with the conditions of approval as outlined here, and in the staff letter, the application does meet the goals of the Ignite Comprehensive Plan and the requirements of the UDO. And that concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. Shannon, I just have to ask you, and I know you're colorful. You came up with malachite and ochre for the colors, did you not? That was really original. I think it's great. I just had to ask.
My original staff letter, I had a big miss in it. I labeled Green Street as in red. So I had to correct that.
I think it's awesome. Thank you for being creative. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Good. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to the application? Please come forward. Any additional questions from council? McGuire, any further comment? Thank you. Hearing no further testimony, I'm closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion? Seeing no further questions or comments, Councilmember Hodges, would you please read Bill number 24-181?
Thank you, Mayor. I advance to second reading Bill number 24-181, an ordinance vacating a 60-foot wide strip of right-of-way Southeast Green Street located between Southeast 2nd Street and Southeast 3rd Street, and vacating a 20-foot wide strip of right-of-way located between Southeast Green Street and Southeast Johnson Street in the city of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. A motion moved to second reading. Bill number 24-181 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember DeMoro. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does pass unanimously. Thank you. That will take us to public comments. We have a few public commenters tonight. Let me pull them up. Okay, on the public comment, we set a time aside to address the mayor and council on items on the agenda or items related to the operations of the city. Speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes. Minutes may not be transferred from one speaker to another. Council won't act on an item listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, but staff may be directed to respond at a later time due to the content of the public comments. Mayor and council welcome and value your input and feedback. Let's start off with Greg Ahrens. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, for the opportunity to speak. Won't be here next week, so I appreciate you letting me have a chance tonight. My name is Greg Ahrens. I live on Northeast Beechwood Drive. Before my comments, I just first want to say thank you for your work in our community. I'm very grateful for the work by all in our city, especially those who might be here with Park and Rec. It's been an amazing summer. So thank you very, very much for this council for funding all of the right things to make our city vibrant and growing. I'm here to offer not just a few comments, but a request. I know you're about to hear a resolution next week to rename the Lee Summit Airport to the Greater Kansas City Regional Airport and to entice more and greater business to the city and propel the airport's direct and indirect revenue capability. I'm asking you to consider a traffic control tower and improvements to airport grounds before you make any other moves to grow this airport, including changing the name to advertise for additional size and scope of airport itinerants. My home is directly north of the runway zone for runway 36. Per the study of the master plan completed in 2021, my home and surrounding neighborhood was identified to be in the highest risk area for noise pollution. Zone 2, which is only surpassed by Zone 1, which is the object-free and runway protection areas, aka the runway. In the long-term plan, it was noted that the aviation noise primarily results from the operation of the airplane and helicopter departures, arrivals, overflights, taxiing, and engine run-ups. The plan acknowledged that these are increasing concerns of noise in urbanized areas that tend to surround many commercial service airports such as ours. When my wife and I moved to Lee Summit from Kansas City, Missouri, we sought a place that was quieter, certainly didn't have the constant low-flying police helicopters at all hours of the day and night. And at that time, nearly 18 years ago, we noticed the air traffic flying over us was mostly small aircraft, late afternoons and weekends as new pilots trained or hobby pilots enjoyed the airspace over us. And while the occasional really low-flying helicopter practice was annoying, and still frankly is, the timing or takeoffs of plane landings and the noise generated didn't seem as though it was overwhelming and much of a distraction to our quality of life, nor pose what is now a growing danger over our heads. Since the completion of the runway expansion, the addition of larger jets flying in low has filled that quiet void between small plane and helicopter practice. The increased amounts of these faster jets sharing the same air traffic space with slower small planes has created some interesting and risky moments. I've personally witnessed several times where a single-engine plane has had to increase the throttle or make a sharp turn just to get out of the way of aircraft, all at roughly 500 to 1,000 feet directly over my home. This increased traffic means that every day, not just evenings or weekends, there is more air traffic noise and increased risk of an accident over mine and my neighbors' houses. Courtesy rules, which state to avoid repeated takeoffs and landings between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. and reduce repeated overflight over residential areas to the north and south when practicing, are basically getting ignored. Recognizing that noise pollution is unhealthy and near misses are concerning, the airport expansion without a plan to address these increasing safety risks is leading to the decreasing value of our quality of living and the value of our homes. Who wants to live under the greater Kansas City Regional Airport? The answer is no one. So I hear you. You want to continue inviting more and bigger business and renaming the airport as a continuation of your plan. You want to grow commerce to the city by increasing the capabilities of the airport. I'm just asking you to please pause. Your residents need you to heed those warnings identified in the master plan, where it was noted with regard to noise pollution, and I'm paraphrasing, that day-night average sound level is measured cumulatively, and with the city's desire to increase operations, it is important for the public to understand that once the airport identifies noise-sensitive areas, such as Zone 2 over my house, the city will work towards protection of those areas and mitigation of noise.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Mr. Quayle, Jordan Quayle.
Thank you very much for having me in tonight. I had a great speech written, but Greg just really enforced everything I'm here to talk about today. I, for one, did vote for the airport expansion. I was in full support of it. When you guys brought it to us, you did say there would be some courtesy rules that would be followed, and they just have been blatantly ignored. Over the weekend, a plane landed at 4 a.m. Last week, I'm heading to work. I go to work early, leave about 6:30. There's planes practicing, and the courtesy rules do state between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. In addition to that, they don't always follow the height restrictions, and they do fly underneath the 500 required feet by the FAA. So I would just like you all to consider some type of restrictions for the airport so it will improve our quality of life. It was noted in your own report, post-construction engineering report, that if our homes were not already built in that neighborhood, engineers would not recommend building our homes. And that was from your own report. So I would ask that you would consider some type of restrictions or communicate with the neighbors of Lakewood on what you're going to do and what the plan is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. We have one more speaker tonight, Ms. Vollenweider.
Teresa Vollenweider, 5201 Northeast Maybrook Road.
I believe there's an option to get an easement from the property owner. It's more of a roundabout way, and we'd have to examine the design of that.
Matt Slish again. So yeah, part of what we've looked at is the option. Let's look clearer. You know, option one, which is the shortest and most direct route, would be to come off of the southeast corner and head to the sanitary sewer. There is an option that we've tried to evaluate, which would come out and south, then onto the Sanko's property.
He said out and to the south. His out into the south. His out into the south was west of the power pole that is there. That's what he said. He's using a document, a site plan, that has no road right-of-way on it on the north side. There's no north line of right-of-way there. That particular document is signed and sealed.
And then continue, actually, let me see if I can get a map. This probably shows it as good as it is. So the sanitary sewer essentially runs down here in this creek. The one, the easiest option is obviously just to come directly to it. There is an option that would come further over, come south, and then come down and connect. But the issue is that we're starting to work with, and we just briefly discussed this with Public Works, but we're starting to push the length of that line to 300, 400 feet long. And so what I think Public Works' immediate response is, man, that seems like a lot of line for us to maintain for a single house to be connected to it. So there is potentially another option, and I think that that's what Stephanie was kind of talking about. We're open to continuing to look at that and see if there's another way, or see if that easement is possible. But that, I think, is the kind of immediate concern when that discussion started, was it's just going to be such a long line for one use that it was going to be taxing on your maintenance staff to keep that line up.
So the initial expense is for the applicant, but the ongoing maintenance is for our Public Works.
Correct. And when we looked at something,
That is false.
$5,000 sanitary sewer system that would go out and around, that would be paid for by the applicant to install.
Carlisle.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt, sorry. So you said to what you just drew out with your little hand here, how far, you said that's 300 to 400 feet to connect, to go within, I'm assuming the property line is there for the neighbor, so you have to go that way and then come over to miss the other neighbor?
Kind of bad view to be talking
So
about that.
if you look in here, I think we can kind of show you. The lines are a little tricky as they get in there.
Look at
This
that
line
site
with kind of a
plan.
little
It's got the
blip
house
on
on it,
it,
it's got the septic
that's the
system.
road right-of-way line. So that's
And
the
it's got
right-of-way
the road right-of-way
of
line.
Maybrook. And so you can see that up to about a
Interestingly,
point right
that one is not signed and sealed. Schlick, schlick. Schlick, schlick.
Thank you, Ms. Vallenweiter. Next, we have proposed ordinances first reading. Councilmember Rader, would you please read Bill number 24-182?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance the second reading Bill number 24-182, an ordinance accepting final plat entitled Lee Summit Market Plaza, lots 1 through 4, as a subdivision to the city of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Okay. Do you guys want staff to maybe say a few words, Mr. McGuire or Ryan Elam, one of you, please?
All right, Shannon McGuire, Planning Manager. So this is just kind of cleanup for the Market Plaza project. The overall site is a little over 7 acres, and this particular plat is consistent with the overall approved plan, and it will be four lots total. It's consistent, like I said, with the preliminary development plan for the Market Plaza. So you can see here, I've kind of highlighted those different lots. This plat has a lot on it. So you can see the main lot, Lot 1, will house the farmer's market, the parking garage, as well as City Hall. Lot 2 is a pad site for future development, as well as Lot 3 and Lot 4. So with that, I can answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, sir. Nice color coordination again tonight. Hearing whisperings on the dais. Color what is?
Green, blue, red, and pink.
Thought it was mauve. Okay, thank you, sir. I just want to make sure we showed it. It's, it's an interesting little layout of lots in downtown. Oh, now we have a question.
So,
I didn't ever get a motion or an approval. Did I? Councilmember Hodges moved.
No, Rader, move to second
Rader?
reading.
Okay. I don't know why my screen's not on it. Vote on the floor. Here we go. Yeah, we have a move by Councilmember Rader and a second by Councilmember Hodges. You're right. Councilmember Carlisle.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think it was in budget meeting that somebody told us this was going to be called the Green Street Project, but this says Market Plaza. So you guys are still confusing me.
Yeah, they have an answer to this, because this was brought up to me last week when Mr. Dunning was gone. Ryan Elam has an answer to this, I think.
Yeah, so when we renamed the project Green Street, we'd already had the plat prepared, essentially. And the plat name doesn't necessarily impact the overall name of the project, if you will. So through that process, Green Street is what the development as a whole is now known as. And so we're all transitioning from downtown Market Plaza to Green Street. And we're hopeful here soon that we'll have some logos and things like that and some more big splash as we continue to, I'll say rebrand. It's more the actual start doing the official branding for the area as a whole.
I think it's a good point that you brought up.
Super confusing.
We got to be consistent.
Well, we are consistently confusing.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8-0. And Councilmember DeMoro, would you please read Bill number 24-183?
I move to advance to second reading, Bill number 24-183, an ordinance vacating certain easements located at 201 Southeast Green Street, 211 Southeast Green Street, and 220 Southeast Green Street, 200 Southeast Johnson Street, and 208 Southeast Johnson Street, 200 Southeast 3rd Street in the city of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. I have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 24-183 by Councilmember DeMoro, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does pass 8-0. Thank you all. And committee reports. Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. Finance and Budget Committee met yesterday, and as you guys know, Lee Summit has a really great problem that we have a fund balance that's larger than our adopted policy allows for, so we're continuing to discuss some funding priorities. So staff is going to be coming back to the Finance and Budget Committee with a little bit more detail on some proposals, including some new, I know they're not called bollards now, but safety barricades that would be used for not just our festivals downtown, but would be movable for any festivals, events, road closures that we might need in the city, but would offer a lot more safety and stopping power than the barricades that we use right now. So that was exciting. Some other proposals that we talked about, a strategic communication plan, a possible paying compensation and study that would be, and I'm sure Mr. Dunning will give us a lot more and better detail on that, but basically we decided to go ahead and start honing in on some priorities that we have enough detail to make decisions on. Some additional funding for sidewalk gaps was another one, and there's still some money left in that amount over our balance cap that we're thinking about some other projects for, but we didn't want to wait until we had every single thing ready to go before we started taking action and deploying those funds like we've talked about that taxpayers have paid to the city for services in the city. So we'll hopefully be seeing more of that come through finance and budget and then come to the full council for discussion. So just want everybody to be aware. And as I always say, if there's any other project that you really want to see the city do, any other funding priority that you have, let Mr. Dunning or myself know, and we can put it on that list for consideration of future projects, because pretty soon we'll be getting the 2024 audit, fiscal year 2024, and then doing this all over again, because we'll still have a fund balance and be looking for spending recommendations for that. So I would just love to see the rest of the council engage on that, because I know we all have priorities that we want to see met for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember DeMoro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to announce on Monday, there will be a legislative and intergovernmental relations committee meeting at 11:30, and following up at 4:30 p.m., there will be a public works committee meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. So last week we had a BOAC meeting, and it was actually a pretty quick meeting, but one thing that came out of that meeting that I think that is important and that a lot of people would like is they talked about potentially having the FAA come and maybe doing a date, maybe biannually. They were just throwing out ideas of having like maybe an open house on site at the airport, maybe doing it in Lakewood, but just having a meeting where they just talked about the benefits of the airport and just kind of an answering question session and educating the public on everything that the airport does. So I think most of the people on the BOAC committee were for that. So thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. Council comments. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. I forgot in committee reports to mention that we had the Lee Summit Economic Development Council meeting today also, and they'll be coming to council, I believe, at our October 15th meeting to give an update on where they're at in their process, and then they're hoping to come to Finance and Budget Committee next month to talk about a proposed PSA. So I just wanted to let you all know about that. And then I want to say that I understand why we took the airport renaming off the agenda tonight, and I think that it's always good to engage with our other regional partners and good to have those discussions, but I do hope that we won't delay it too long. I'm glad that you said that you'll be putting it on the agenda for next week. This has been a long process that we've invited stakeholders to be a part of, that we've done a lot of thinking and work about this renaming, and I know the whole council is dedicated to seeing this continue to grow, and just we've made so many plans for the airport, and I just hate to see that derailed, especially with the World Cup coming up. We have kind of a timeline that we all had in mind for getting this done, so I know that you'll convey to them that we're not stopping with our plans, and we are always happy to be good partners, but we have a lot that we want to get done in a short timeline. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Pryor.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields mentioned being good partners, and I do want to be a good partner, and I think it's super important to be a good partner, but I do find it ironic that they want us to be a good partner right now, although when we were begging them to be a good partner during the whole landfill thing, they were silent. So we are good partners, but I think it should go both ways. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Dunning, staff roundtable, can you set a meeting for me?
Yep, we're working on that. Couple items. A big thanks to all the staff who worked Oktoberfest or who volunteered to make Oktoberfest successful. I know many city employees were involved with that. Couple things forthcoming. This Saturday, October 12th, a stream team cleanup at Upper Banner Park. You can go to the city website, Public Works page, and find a registration and waiver there and details about that event. And then also Saturday, a couple weeks later, Saturday, October 26th, from 9 to noon at our city maintenance facility, we'll host a Recycle Fest. So those are some upcoming public engagement opportunities to help clean up Lee Summit and recycle any of those items. There's a full listing of items accepted for Recycle Fest on that same page. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We don't have anything else tonight. So I will adjourn this meeting at 7:21.